Hey guys, I am back for another video. So in this video, I'm going to touch into more details of how the cycle started with the eating disorder. So we went through how I was introduced to bulimia in high school. I never did it. I was too afraid to do it. So I didn't realize that I seriously had an eating disorder because I would go to school and I would never get lunch. I never would get it. I would just sit there and watch everybody eat. And I was always so obsessed with food because I always restricted. And it was almost like I just had to starve in order to feel pretty. So if I wasn't thin, okay, which took more work for someone like my size because I'm shorter and Italian people are more hippier and things like that, I would always want to look like a Victoria's Secret model, but I couldn't. So I would have to starve myself to even look somewhat close to that. So that is typically what I did. And I remember like I would get insulted because like guys that would like me would say like I had nice hips, and I hated my hips because it would make me almost upset because I wanted to be built like Jessica Alba or people that were like taller and thinner like Megan Fox. And I remember I went to the movies with one guy who was telling me how Megan Fox was so pretty. Well, obviously, I didn't have a body like her. So, like, little things like this would upset me. When Transformers was out, that was the movie, and, she was obviously thin. And I would always compare myself to this. And I didn't feel worthy unless I was thin. I would never put a pair of shorts on. I would always try to find skinny creams to be able to rub on the back of my legs to be able to not have any cellulite. It was just a terrible cycle. So finally, I graduated school, and all those insecurities still were going on. And then when I graduated, that was when the cycle really started. So a lot of women I was in nursing school with were bulimic. So I would see that we would go to like a pizza shop and they would eat all this stuff and then they would do it. So then the order that I got, I started examining, maybe this is an easier option because I can eat the stuff. So then I ended up experimenting, and I remember the first time I ever did it, I felt so much guilt and shame, but it's kind of like what goes on with any prodigal. You feel the guilt and the shame, but the enemy reels you in. And then once he does, you're like, you know what? I already did it. So I might as well just go into it full force. So I started doing it and I started losing weight. I was able to maintain my weight. It was like I found the answer. Now, I wasn't doing it every day. I was using that as like a cheat sheet for days that like I couldn't take starving anymore and wanted to eat. So I want to make that clear because I uh I did a lot for many years. I would take Benadryl at night to be able to fall asleep earlier so I wouldn't eat. I'm telling you guys, it was a very terrible cycle, and I didn't want to share any of this, but then the Holy Spirit just kept telling me, did I not heal you to be able to help somebody else? So the cycle kept going, and this went on for many years. I got down very low in weight, and I thought like I'm still fat. Like it was so terrible, guys, and I had no idea that this was demonic. And this is something that went on for a long time. And a lot of people in my family suffered with eating disorders as well, even some of, my male family members. It's generational, but I finally can say that I am fully delivered from it. So I'm going to get into going forward how God dealt with me and how he delivered me from the eating disorder. So I hope that this video helped to kind of understand what I had done. I was bulimic, restrictive eating. I exercised compulsively and would try to do as much cardio to subtract the amount of calories that I ate. I was obsessed with food. I was always cooking and baking all these beautiful, extravagant culinary art stuff, homemade ravioli, gnocchi, all that stuff, because I would fantasize about food all the time. And that was because I was starving. Okay. So I would be out at restaurants with boyfriends or my husband typing in how many calories are in this thing. It was so, I would drink pots of coffee to speed the metabolism up. Well, what I didn't know was all this stuff was going to catch up eventually. And we're going to get into that in my next video. Okay, guys, God bless, and you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week. Bye.